Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are joined again here live with Jacqueline Campbell on the podcast and on the Zoomcast to talk more about the work she does as the owner and CEO of Restoring Minds Wellness. Welcome back, Jacqueline. How are you?
Thank you so much, Jill, for having me back. I'm doing really well. What about you?
I'm okay. I'm recovering from a cold, as you can hear. I can't hide it in my voice, but
Oh,
I'm feeling better. Just don't sound that well. But
no worries,
it's like that stress, right? You work with people with
right?
stress. Stress on the body sometimes causes sickness.
It's
But
got to be hard too because you're interviewing people all day.
yeah, and my son was sick last week, so then you use your voice, and
Oh,
then it's okay. I'll be fine. But I know you're here to help so many. Tell us a little bit about the work that you do.
thank you. Thank you. So I'm a therapist and I primarily work with executives and entrepreneurs because of the amount of stress. And what happens when we get full of stress, and a lot of times it's from our childhood too, is it exacerbates it in the body. And then it closes up our perception of reality in the present. So it affects relationships, connection, communication, time management, focus, and so many different things, especially as leaders they're making very tough decisions. A lot of times they don't realize they're missing a lot. And so if they work on their trauma or if they work on their stress, they can really manage it a whole lot better.
Got it. And I know for today we have we're going to talk a little bit of to start about your upcoming book, and let's talk about
Yes,
that
thank
and some of the
you.
lessons in
I'm
it.
so excited.
Tell us about the book.
Thank you. So I've been collecting some notes from the nervous system. And, there's a lot of textbooks. You can read self-help books, and then there's life experiences. There is no better teacher, in my opinion, than the human nervous system because it knows what it's talking about. As humans, we tend to mess things up sometimes. So I've really been learning a lot from the human nervous system and taking those down as notes. And I have the book is called Life's Contradictions. It's actually 25 compiled lessons that I've learned from trauma
Ah,
from the nervous system. And they're so backwards, you would never think that these are actually the lessons. Because I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So a couple of them, and surprisingly enough, which kind of goes with a lot of our shows that we've talked about, the main premise of the book is that our strength is actually in our vulnerability. We as a society tend to think that, you're weak if you show weakness or limitations or areas of growth, emotions, passivity. We don't realize that there's a whole lot of resources in that space.
wow. Wow. Well, thank you for
Right?
sharing this. I know there's so much to it and we're excited about. By the way, when is the book coming out?
So that's a very good question.
Or-
I'm still in the process of writing it, been collecting notes for years, but it should be out by the end of the year. And everybody who wants to purchase a copy can go on Amazon. It will be there.
Beautiful. And let's talk about the main premise of the book, right? Your strength is in your vulnerability, you say.
Right. So,
Yep.
okay, so for example, like we have a stressed out leader, or really this can work for any personality, anybody, but like a lot of times we try to hold it together, right? Like take up your bootstraps and wipe the tears, like don't do that. But that's actually not normal. What is normal for our nervous system is to feel the detoxification process of our emotions. And so when we have somebody who's always holding it together, never shows emotion, never shows limitations because they're wanting to act like they have it all together because they don't want to come off as vulnerable, they're actually closing themselves off to the entire right hemisphere of their brain, which is where emotions and connection, it's also intuition. That's where a lot of that comes from. And so when you're working off of your gut instinct, but you're not paying attention to any of your emotions, you actually don't have full accessibility. So you really have an obligation to yourself to get in touch with your vulnerability.
Ooh. All right. Well, this is so good because you are going to share some more stories with us as well, right?
Yes, yes. Okay, so there's a couple of them, and then I got some good stories, I think. Hopefully our listeners will enjoy them, or at least resonate with them. But one of the big ones that I've noticed is to love unconditionally, because we tend to always say that we want that or we want to provide that. We actually have to emotionally detach from the people and the things that we love so much in order to love ourselves. And the reason for that is because you can't give from an empty cup, and I've seen this from entrepreneurs and executives, but, especially parents who they're just trying to give, 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 and they end up so tired and so stressed and so empty. They just don't have anything left to give, you know? Another couple are of the lessons actually that the book is going to go over is to, and it kind of goes along the same lines, is to, give unconditionally. We have to be selfish. So you can't, again, it's just in a different concept because if you don't give to yourself, you can't give to other people. So it's not just about loving yourself. To love unconditionally, you have to love yourself, but also to give unconditionally, we have to give to ourselves too, you know? So if that means asking for your alone time or, rejuvenating yourself before you have to go take care of somebody else. I've known a lot of people, especially in the nonprofit space, where they just want to be self-sacrificial and that ends up killing them, physically killing them. I've known a lot of people who are very altruism, like just sacrificing of yourself and giving so much. That is what is very widespread with that personality trait is cancer because they are physically constantly giving and they're empty and they just don't have any more. And so they have an obligation to themselves to stop the giving, let people help you, ask for help. And it's not saying that you're weak or anything because you're showing the vulnerability. I think as a culture, we have to reframe that idea that it's okay to ask for help because then you can actually give more and longer.
Interesting. I never thought of it like that, but you're right. And then the whole loving unconditionally, learning to love ourselves, give unconditionally, right?
Right.
Be
Well, you're a
selfish.
mom too. You're a single mom. I'm a single mom as well.
Yeah. And
So
how old are yours again?
okay. So I have two
She's
adult daughters. They're
Mhm.
biological, I'm sorry, they're
And
stepdaughter and adopted daughter, and they are away in the Air Force, so they don't live in the home. And maybe you can resonate with this. With my 14-year-old and my 11-year-old, I tell them like I have to have an hour of alone time at the end of the day. But mom, we want to stay up. We want to do this. And at the beginning, it was guilt. Mom guilt. I'm sure you have this too. We want to be able to give them the things that they want. But if we don't give ourselves what we need, then we can't be on our game. So I actually say, no, I need that hour so I can be a better mom. So they understand that's what self-care looks like.
yep. Oh, absolutely. I believe in it. It's not easy, right? It's nonstop.
Yeah.
God bless you. Oh my goodness. So what
Me too.
else do you
Do you take alone
no, what is alone time, Jacqueline? No.
time? How many kids do you have?
Two, 7 and 9. And I mean, since I've been single forever, we sleep in the same bed.
Yep,
We go to bed at the same time.
yep,
There's no like, yeah, we're
yep.
just like
I get it.
3 and 1. So it's
Yeah.
morning, wake up, breakfast. Oh, go to the bus.
Yep.
Then I'll rush to get ready for work. Oh, then they're
Yep.
home from school. Oh, and it's just, yeah. No, there's really no
Yeah.
time for myself.
Oh.
That's why I don't, there's no dating life. And, people I've
Yep.
dated and dated, but I'm like, nobody gets it. Just letting you know now I don't have time for you. And then it becomes, hey, you don't have
Same.
time for me. And I'm like, told you since day one. I'm not, if you want to date someone that doesn't have time
Yeah.
for you, that's the type of relationship I want. I'll see you every few weeks. I don't mind, but most people want more. I don't. I'm just like, yeah, I have two main men in my life. There's really not a room for a third, but hey, you want it? You think you can
Right.
handle it? Let's see. And it always goes
You
south
have
the
a
same
really
way.
good point.
Yeah.
Because even if we do tend to get in relationships or if we're running our own business, we only have so much to give. So if we're giving everything to one area, there is nothing left at the end of the day.
No.
You give to work, you give to your kids, you give to your spouse or your partner if you have one. And then it's because of guilt too. We feel so guilty that we're not able to give or we don't want to. Then we become resentful a lot of times. And so, kudos to you for saying up front, like, dude, I don't have it. Like, there's just not enough. And so you have to understand that I can give what I can instead of giving where you don't have. Because if you're giving from an empty cup, it always turns into resentment.
Yeah. I'm just the honest person up front. I'm like, I have an empty cup. this is all I can offer. And I finally realized I'm like, I can't, I'm not looking for a relationship. I dream about it,
Yeah.
but it would have to be an extreme circumstance where someone really gets it. But it's not easy because everyone
Yeah.
wants their time, and I just don't have that to give to someone. But all right, enough about me. Go back to you. Let's talk about you. Go ahead.
Well, hey, it's working because it
No,
actually
thank
kind of
you.
goes with the
Yeah.
other lessons in the book. There was 25, and I'm sure we only have a few minutes to go over in the show. But another one is, in order to be productive, you actually have to slow down and
Yeah.
stop working. You know, Hands down, that goes for everything, whether you're giving to the relationship, giving to your kids, or giving to, professionally as an entrepreneur or an employer. It really doesn't matter because we want to be productive. We like that feeling of accomplishment and success. But in order to really achieve your highest potential, and it's not just about money, it's about achievement, just
Yeah.
being fulfilled by
Yeah.
putting your hard work into something and seeing the fruits of your labor, you have to stop.
Ah, yes. Yes, yes, yes. I need a break. Ah, but it sounds good. No, but
We all
the
do.
importance of it is just so, yeah, I take it very lightly, and I shouldn't, but maybe things will change because, all these lessons that you've learned, I'm learning, we all have our own lessons, are going to bring us to a different place and hopefully more productive place that we can,
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely. I used to know this couple, and it kind of goes with that story as well as the next lesson, which is in order to control, you have to actually let go of control.
Mm,
Which is another backwards one, right? Nice lesson from the nervous system. And we all kind of logically know this, but in order to fully experience it, because we're all kind of scared of letting go of control, then if we want to be successful, we have to stop and pay attention to ourselves, right?
hmm.
And and so I knew a couple who they were struggling, and one of them had owned a business, and she was very successful, very wealthy, but her partner and her, like, they couldn't work things out with their communication. And so my client, who was the owner of her business, and she was just trying to kind of give to a partner just to keep her happy. And and at the end of the day, you have to stop and pay attention to yourself and give to yourself. But then she'd go to work and give more. And so we
Wow.
had talked about, like, okay, in order to be productive, you have to stop, right? So don't schedule your schedule. It's a time blocking system, back to back to
Yeah.
back to back. Schedule a 10-minute break. From this meeting, I cannot schedule another meeting until I have a 10-minute break for myself. And she flipped out because this was just an idea we were pondering.
Yeah.
Instead of just giving, we're going to take a little bit, and it's really taking time. We talked about breath work, meditation, just sitting in silence. You as a
Yep.
mom, I know you know this. Silence is bliss, but
Yeah.
we don't get it naturally, so we have to make it happen. And so what happened is, once she implemented this, which it was a challenge, 10-minute interim from one meeting to another, or transition. So she's going from work to home, 10 minutes sitting in the car by myself. She, at the end of the day, was not exhausted. So she would come home refreshed. She was less stressed, more energized. And so when she had told her receptionist, because the receptionist had to do this for her, she couldn't do it herself, right? Like, sometimes we need help. And so when she got home, she's like, you know what? I'm going to implement something along the same lines with my partner. And so this goes along with the giving, right? And not taking. So we had discussed, okay, so we need 10-minute rule, right? If I don't have anything to give to you, I'm going to call for the 10-minute rule. And the partner can do the same thing. Like,
Okay.
it's okay. Like, say, dude, I don't have it right now, whether it's to argue or to use
Yeah.
my brain to coordinate, even planning things together, the logistics, it's too much sometimes. Or to even tell you what I'm thinking, that's still giving. If I don't have it in me, I call the 10-minute card, and then I get to go just be by myself. I don't have to think about anything. I can turn my brain off. I can meditate. I can breathe, or I could just sit. And so whenever she implemented that with her partner, it was very hard at the beginning because her partner thought she was abandoning her, and she was, upset
Yeah.
with her, and she thought, she wasn't able to talk to her in those 10 minutes. But then she realized, and this is the other partner, realizing, like, I really
Oh.
enjoyed that too. Like, I come
Uh-huh.
back refreshed too. And so at the end of the day, now they have 30 minutes. This is, a couple of years later. Now they have 30 minutes of quiet time when they both get home from work. They go to their own corners, do whatever they want to do, and then they come back together and then share what happened during the day. Then they can, do the logistics of the day, care for the kids, and how did your day go? Oh, I had these stressors. Okay, did you want to talk about that argument we had on Tuesday? Because then we don't have to give and we don't
Yeah.
have to be productive in
Yeah.
order to be productive and continue to give. It's the opposite. So this goes with the last lesson. In order to control, you have to let go of it.
Mm.
That we're constantly trying to do and do and do all the time. And that's when we mess things up. So to just stop, let it go. I know a lot of entrepreneurs, especially a lot of moms, and whether you're single or not, like it's hard to be a parent. And so sometimes we just have to turn it off. My brother, he's a loan officer, and he does a lot of accountability meetings for
Yeah.
networking meetings. A lot of people working on commission, high stress jobs, entrepreneurs, and he calls it put it down. That's his card. Mine's the 10-minute card. He says put it down. If
Hmm.
your brain is not functioning, if you are operating from an empty cup, put it down. Shut up the phone, shut up the computer. Don't talk to anybody or anything. I'm just enjoying the evening with my
Hmm.
family tonight because tomorrow I might have more.
Ah,
After somebody gets to the point where they cannot give anymore, if they shut it down and then they come back, that's when ideas and solutions they come back. That's because you can't find them in the cognitive fog with all that stress. So sometimes we have to put it down.
yeah. Yeah, we do. Remind us how to do that. How do we contact you?
Yes, thank you. Yes, so to talk to me for a consultation, to work individually with me, you can call 214-235-9087, or you can email me at jcampbell at restoringmindswellness.com.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's continue the conversation. We still have a lot to get through.
Uh,
Where do we leave off, technically? I
well,
mean, we're just
I
talking,
think
but
we are. I think we only have a couple more minutes, but I
we have
guess a
six
couple
more
other little
minutes.
lessons.
Yes, go
Six.
ahead.
We could
Tell us.
totally get through six more lessons. No. I think another one, which kind of goes with a lot of the other shows that we were talking about, because what I dealt with, and this goes back to the first couple of shows that we had, is that I grew up in a chaotic childhood. Parents did the best that they could with what they had, but they both had traumatic pasts too. So generationally, we pass down our traumas that are unresolved. So I got a lot of that. So did my siblings. Then I went into the Marine Corps and I was tough, right? Had a
Mhm.
traumatic past, have to be tough. Go to the Marine Corps, have to be tough. And then I ended up working on myself and becoming a parent and a spouse. And what I realized is like I gotta stop trying to do this, badass stuff. Like
Yeah.
I have to just be normal. That's when I went into therapy. I worked on myself and I found my vulnerability. And so now, many, many years on the other side, I've been able to realize that my true authentic self is completely different than I used to be. So, in order to truly find
Yeah.
ourselves, we have to lose ourselves because a lot of times it's our false self. This is where we get to find our true authenticity.
Yeah. Yeah. My true authentic self would be staying home in pajamas, just different than what I used to be, and not going out and not going anywhere. Very different. And that's okay to change, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of couples they get divorced because they change when realizing like that's actually a normal process of life, and so we get to change together. And so a lot of times, especially in the healing journey, there's a lot of people who heal, and that's why they change. And so that's why we need our partners to like be with us, and that's it doesn't have to separate that way. It's
Yeah.
okay to change.
All right, good, good, good. Well, in our last few minutes together, do you want to share some more stories? Do you want to talk about some of the people you're working with? And it's up to you if you want to
Of course,
jump
yeah.
on that.
So, a couple of different kinds of people that I work with, besides executives, entrepreneurs, they're individuals who really want to own their business or own a business for themselves, or they want to be promoted into leadership roles. And the reason for that is because they kind of already see we're the ones that hold ourselves back. And so, I was working with this one very young, very bright individual, and he had so much potential, but his anxiety from his past traumas was holding him back. We
Okay.
started meeting for trauma work for a good while. Um, after we got to a point where he was pretty confident, he found his true authentic self. He was in a very healthy, loving relationship. He's like, you know what? Let's do some business coaching. And I was like, you want to do business? I'm not a business coach. He's like, yeah, but we can use these techniques to, this is, a while ago, we can use these techniques to kind of propel me into the business world. You own a business? I said, okay, I can't teach you to run a large business, but I guess I can do that. So then while we were working together with leadership in mind, he was one of the individuals. Now he went off and he owns his own business. A lot of the clients that I worked with previously were able to promote into executive roles or quit their job because they were tired of listening to other people and they just wanted to own their life. And so that's what eventually moved me into the role that I'm working in now, primarily with executives and entrepreneurs, because there's so much joy that we can get back from empowering people.
Yeah.
And what I do is I give people full access to their brain. So I love it. A lot of people really do want to own their own business when they absolutely can.
I love it. By the way, I love your background today.
Thank
I got
you.
is that like wicker? That is so pretty.
It is, yeah.
I
Just order it online.
Are you serious? It's so nice. I love that
Yeah, thank
wicker look. I
you.
was looking at wicker furniture for like the backyard recently, and I'm like, that looks like I saw it at Costco, but no, that's
Very
not it.
zen.
Oh,
Very, very zen. This is my oasis. I got plants all around.
oh. And by the way, where are you based out of again for people? I don't know if we talked about that in the beginning.
Right. So anybody who's, coming into town, DFW area, that's the place that I serve. I can do trainings as well as consultation for emotional intelligence in corporations. But when I see individual clients, this is where I see my leaders and entrepreneurs, I'm located in Midlothian.
Yay. All right. But again, available everywhere. Perfect, perfect.
Yes.
All right, good. Also, before we get, oh gosh, how is it possible? No, we have yet 3 minutes left. We're still not done.
Yeah.
Okay. Stress on the body. I know this is your big thing, with helping so many. Anything we could start doing at home today to start relieving the stress? Any
Mhm.
breathing techniques? Are you into visualization, into meditation?
Absolutely.
Just like all the
Yes.
above.
So all of the above. Yes, do everything. A lot of times we do have to start. And I think it was about 3 shows ago we had talked a little bit more about meditation. So if right now, if it's okay, if we talk about mindset, we got
Yeah.
about 3 minutes, that's perfect. But our mind, it's creating these thoughts. So we assume that it's reality, right? But we were talking about even before the last one on meditation about your thalamus reshaping what's reality. So it's actually not true. What we believe to be true, that's what becomes true for us. So if you don't like your truth, if you don't like your reality, change your mindset. Now, what happens is it's not an easy road. It really
Okay.
isn't. You don't just do it like that. So don't worry, don't get mad when you're like, okay, well, this and this is going to happen, and it doesn't. What happens is then the triggers in our body, these emotional landmines, they come up because they've just been triggered because now you've challenged the reality. They're coming up to be cleared. Once we sit in the discomfort and the emotion, usually fear and doubt, then we have to physically feel that because the nervous system is detoxing it. After you physically feel it, wherever it is in your body, after it calms down, then you can go back to the mindset shift or whatever it is that you're wanting to your reality to be and check in it now. Now, do you believe in it? The more
Hmm.
you do that, all you're doing is you're reframing. And then this takes some time, but then you'll start to see your actual reality changing. So this is the mind trick that you can play on yourself all the time. You just lie to yourself. I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire.
Totally.
And just keep saying it, keep saying it. But then what's going to happen is then you're going to get all these chances in life to propel you forward and you're going to stop not taking them. A
Oh
lot of
my.
times we don't take them because that fear is holding us back, but it's not once you detox it.
All right. Well, remind us one more time how we can contact you.
So my phone number is 214-235-9087. And my email is jcampbell@restoringmindswellness.com.
Perfect. Thanks so much. We'll be right back with
Thank
more.
you.
Always a pleasure having you here. And we back again next week.
Actually, this one is the last one.
Didn't realize that. Oh, well, it's
Oh,
been a pleasure
I
getting to
appreciate
know
your
you.
time.
No,
Thank
same
you.
here. Until next time, I'll say, okay? Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Bye bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.